Hi, I'm Gino here to preview the Maryfield Stakes this weekend at Monmouth Park. We're going to be looking at Saturday, June the 29th, a $100,000 stakes race that's named after the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint winner from 2007 who won the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint at Monmouth Park. Maryfield was a 9-time winner, a multiple graded stakes winner who earned $1.33 million. And now there's a stakes race named after that talented filly. Let's take a look at the runners that are entered this week in the stakes race, the Maryfield, which is going to go as race number 8 at Monmouth Park on Saturday. It's a 6-furlong dirt sprint, and we will take a look at the Timeform US pace projector and see how Timeform US has this thing playing out early on. They have the 5. You almost had me on the lead early, just based on some of the speed figures that this filly has and some of the races that she's exited. She's the class of the field. She's the horse they'll all have to beat. The 3, Daughter of Time, and the 7, Caress, also up front pushing the pace, and then Kaye Amada right behind them on the Timeform US pace projector. Let's go inside, outside, and let's meet this field one at a time here, this field of 7. From the inside, you have the number 1, Outspoken, who is sharp right now. She's won 4 in a row, and she comes over from Mahoning Valley and Thistledown, but she will have to step up and, face tougher in here. When she was on the bigger circuits earlier in her career, at Del Mar, Los Alamitos, Churchill, Turfway, she was overmatched. And the rail draw could be a little bit tricky in here, but she's sharp right now, so they want to give her the acid test and see if she can compete with tougher in here. So Outspoken gets a toss in against the stakes company here. To me, I'm just taking a wait-and-see approach. I need to see her be a little more competitive with a group like this before we can include her. Moving next door, Kaye Amada, the number 2. This is a horse who I like quite a bit in here, and Bobby can pull up a replay for us that we have of Kaye Amada's last race. What I like about this, it was at Monmouth Park on June the 1st, so it's over this track going this trip. She actually was on the lead, but she got some company up the rail. The one horse actually took the lead, but Kaye Amada puts her away late and starts to draw off in here. Now she's going to go third start off the 7-month layoff. She beat 3 next out winners, a couple starts back in her career. And you go through each of her races, they all make sense. I love playing horses like this. In her career debut, she's at Saratoga. She loses to a horse named Ways and Means. That is a filly who has come back with a 104 Beyer speed figure winning recently. That's a graded stakes place horse. It's a really, really nice filly. And in her second start, Kaye Amada wins. She beats 3 next out winners that day at Parks. Then she's off from September to April the 19th. She shows up on April the 19th off of that long, long layoff, and she hops at the start. So she's way behind, and she actually moves all the way up to third. And it wasn't a bad effort. She has to slam on the brakes because she runs in traffic. She backs up to last of 6, and then she comes on again that day. She finishes 4th behind a horse named Emery. Emery is a very, very nice runner as well, who is 3 for 4 and a stakes winner. I'm looking at the versatility that Kaye Amada has. She has speed, but she also has the ability to sit off a little bit. I like her quite a bit in this spot. I think she's better than her speed figures would suggest in here. I like the company she has been keeping. We'll get back to her in just a moment. Right next door, it's the number 3, Daughter of Time. She comes in from Aqueduct, and she has a couple races there at Aqueduct. Reason why we didn't pull the race to show you was because it was in February, so we're already going back 4.5 months. That's the main concern with her, looking at Daughter of Time, because her win was very good. She owns a co-top last out Beyer speed figure for that victory, but it was back in February, and she sat a pretty soft trip that day. She was just 3 lengths off. She was just out wide in the clear, and she made a 3-wide bid at the top of the lane on a day when that outside part of the track was playing a little bit better. She beat a next out winner, a maiden special weight winner named Sarir. But when I look at her work tab, I'm a little confused because Daughter of Time was working in April, then was off from April 22nd to May 20th. So almost a month missing in the works. Then you see after the May 20th work, it almost looked like they missed another work, or maybe even 2. Showed back up on June 7th, June 13th, and June 20th with 3 consecutive works. But that tab's a little bit spotty for me for a horse who I think is going to be a shortish price. So we'll look elsewhere. in here as we move to the 4, Gervin's Princess, who comes in from Tampa pretty sharp right now. This horse is stakes placed, 6 for 8, finishing in the money, versatile, and can sit a few lengths off and can pass horses, can win in with different kinds of trips. Another horse, though, that looks like she might have missed a couple of works. She has a published work on June the 2nd and then nothing until June the 22nd. Her most recent race was on April 20th at Tampa. She was a winner that day. She angled 3 wide. She ran down the second choice, who was clear early in the stretch. And 2 of her recent losses have been to to a horse named Mystic Lake, who we are going to see in the running lines for You Almost Had Me. Mystic Lake is a grade 3 winner who is 3 for 4 on the dirt. So when you look at Gervin's Princess, I think she fits very, very well in here. I think she's one of the horses to beat. I think she's consistent, and you can feel like you're going to get a good run for your money with this filly in this spot. The number 5, You Almost Had Me, is your 2-1 morning line favorite, and that's not surprising. This is a multiple stakes winner. This is a multiple graded stakes placed horse who's now going to make their 3rd start off the form cycle. The question we have for her: has she been able to take the step forward at 3 years old and be as good as she was at 2? Bobby has a replay for us of her most recent race. This was in the grade 3 Miss Preakness, and she's down on the inside. She's going to loom up and angle around the leader and try to come after the 1. The problem is the 1, Mystic Lake, was out front cruising, and You Almost Had Me was just no match for that runner. You can see she gets clearance. She has every opportunity here early in the stretch, but just cannot quicken and go on with Mystic Lake. It's not a bad effort from You Almost Had Me, but when she ran some big races at 2, she beat the boys at 2. She hasn't seemed the same at 3. This is a great spot for her because this will be the softest spot of either of her races this year. So she should be able to run a big one and give every account of herself against this field. So I can understand why they would give her some class relief in here. 3rd start of the form cycle. She has speed, but she doesn't need the lead. She can pass horses. She gets bet. She has never been over 5-2. She's been a 3-time beaten favorite, so she can burn a little bit of money, but I think she's the one they'll all have to pass in here, and they're the one that they'll all have to worry about. You Almost Had Me. Number 6 is Bell's Blue Bell, who actually was behind You Almost Had Me in that very same Miss Preakness last time, Alan. But Bell's Blue Bell was well defeated. We probably wouldn't have been able to pick her up on the replay there because she was way behind that day. And that was really the problem. She had a slow start and she was wide chasing a lone speed winner. She really just didn't have much of a chance with the way that the race shaped up that day. But when you start to isolate her form overall, if we can excuse that last race and just say it didn't shape up for her, she is a very good filly up to 6 furlongs. I think beyond 6 furlongs, it's a little bit farther than where she's at her best. But at this race, I would not be shocked to see her outrun her odds and show up with a pretty good performance. She actually beat her rival Caress to the outside back on April the 14th. And in the 5 races at 6 furlongs or lower, she has 3 wins and a second, and then the 1 effort when she was 6th chasing lone speed. It's pretty good overall form going 6 furlongs. So I think she's better at this shorter trip. I wouldn't talk you off using her at a little bit of a price. Let's round out the field with the number 7, Caress, who I think is a pace player in here. That 67 Beyer top, that's her highest Beyer speed figure on the dirt. That's the lowest top of any of the horses in this field. And she's drawn to the outside, so she's probably going to be caught a little bit wide if she wants to use that speed. I'm not sure if she's the fastest in here. And she won her debut, but since then, she really hasn't shown us she can pass horses. She's 0 for her last 7. And she was 3rd behind Bell's Blue Bell on April the 14th. So I just think she has some improving to do to get the better of a group like this. There's your field for the Maryfield. Let's take a look at the selections for me as we put a bow on the Maryfield. I'm going to the 2, Kaye Amada. I think the versatility is real key for her. 3rd start off the bench. She can sit close. The 2 races she didn't win, she has legitimate excuses, and she faced some really nice fillies in those races. So I think a little bit faster than maybe the speed figures suggest, has some speed, but can sit off the pace a little bit. We'll go with the 5, You Almost Had Me, as the horse to beat. I have in the 2nd spot, the number 4, Gervin's Princess, comes in from Tampa with really solid overall form, can sit close and can be passing horses late. And then to the outside, Bell's Blue Bell, I thought could offer you some value. Maybe you could just eliminate that race and look at the races where she's been at 6 furlongs and shorter. Up to this distance, she's been very, very honest. So That's how I'm playing it this weekend in the Maryfield. We hope that you are playing it. Remember, if you need any other help, head to drf.com. And then when you want to make your wagers, head to DRF Bets.